Yeah, so Joshua, tell us like when you started Ergotune, right? Like how do you guys launch the offer and how do you get your first few customers? I understand it was through Facebook ads and everything, right? How was that in like details and like how do you guys like feel going through that?
So when we first started, it was still Everdash, right? And a lot of our customers were asking about chairs because for Everdash, it is primarily on health and productivity. So a lot of the ads was on how you can be healthier, sitting is the new smoking, type of angles. And naturally, when you buy a table, the easy category expansion is a chair. So when we first launched a chair, we knew that chair had to be something that we needed to do, but what type of chairs was a very huge discussion. So back then when we first started Ergotune, everybody was getting a gaming chair, right? Gaming chair, yeah, gaming chair was the thing, and because it is big, it's like very signature. It makes you feel like a gamer, especially if you resonate with some of the IP that they do, right? Whether is it World of Warcraft or League of Legends or Marvels or all these things, right? When you sit on it, you feel like part of the game and you feel like some of the gamers that actually do that. So we knew that everybody was trying to enter the gaming market, and that's probably not where we want to play, right? Because we can't win. We cannot win. I don't know how to make a better gaming chair or even yet a different gaming chair. But what we identified was that when we were looking for chairs ourselves, the only options we had were either your IKEA $50 chair or a Herman Miller $2,000, right? If you go and think about the time when you buy a chair, these were probably the two main places that you were thinking of, and the gap is huge, right?
Yeah.
So in our heads is okay, why not we have a chair that is 70-80% of your premium chair features at a fraction of the price? It's the same playbook as your DTC type of people, right? We want features of big brands because those are features that they are solving problems for, but we want it compact. We want to make the shipping cheaper. We want to make the experience that customers buy better, and all those things form the first Ergotune, where we decided that okay, we needed a mesh chair. We needed an office chair where corporates can very gladly put in their office. Right? You generally won't see a corporate company put a gaming chair in their company, right? It just doesn't feel as professional if that is the look that they want to give off. So we were thinking of what type of chair would suit them, and it needed to be an office chair with enough possibilities to adjust to different kinds of people. So this solves two problems. So if you know, Ergotune aims at is very proud of the 12-point adjustment.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So that is one thing. So by being able to adjust your chair, back then that was our thinking, right? Is that you don't fit yourself to the chair, but the chair fits you, right? And that resulted in a lot of different points of the chair that we needed to adjust. Second was because the chair is so adjustable, I don't need multiple types of chairs to suit different type of people, which reduces the number of inventory that I need to hold, which then is good for business. So all these things kind of came together, and that was how we thought about running the first batch of Ergotune chairs.
Understand.
So premium features, fraction of the price, solves the problems that people face while sitting, like your lumbar support, adjusting of your armrest, certain height that doesn't suit, your seat depth, which a lot of people don't consider. So all these features of the products were what we were looking for, and then we took that message and ran as Facebook ads.
Yeah. Understand. So the business point, I think it makes a lot of sense, but in terms of the product side, like how did that come to be? Because you all are not engineers, so that's the
OEM.
OEM. So the supplier is really your best friend.
Yes, but this is a different supplier. But now when you find the supplier, it needs to check off certain criteria.
The 12 point, right?
Yeah. So as in, how much adjustment points this has? Does it really help with the consumer? What are the things that we need to invest in to change certain features of the product, but I can keep part of the core? Yeah, so that was how we were thinking about it. But at the start, it was OEM finding the right supplier that has good enough reviews and taking that product and launch it. And then after that, we invested money to mold certain parts of the chair, which then made that chair ours.
Oh,
Yeah.
And how much like time and capital was needed to get from that ideation stage all the way to actually making the first sale?
Right. You mean from getting my first Ergotune chair?
Yeah.
Right. We bought a lot of samples from China, all the different suppliers,
Wow.
then all shipped to our office, and then we tested. Of course, you can fly down to China,
Yeah.
and then but fun fact is I have never been to China.
Oh, that's crazy.
I've never seen my suppliers. It's probably not good. I wanted to go, but then COVID hit, right? So that's my story. Then after that, we sold the company. So
You didn't even meet the supplier?
Yeah, we didn't get to meet our supplier. Yeah. But my team did go lah. Yeah, but anyway, we bought all the different chairs, we tested, and then we kind of saw what we wanted in a particular chair, and then we bought that as our first batch of goods. Then we marketed that chair. Once we sold that chair, we started to get feedback from customers. Your product reviews, what sucks, what they love, and then what they love, we changed it as advertising messages. What they hated, we invested to change the chair.
Oh,
Broadly speaking, that is how we looked at the feedback loop.
Understand.
Yeah.
And was that like in the duration for this whole thing? Like, how long did that take? Was that like months, weeks, or even days?
Months. But when you are only running one brand at the start, there are a lot of resources and time and energy that gets put into that brand, right? A lot of times you are waiting for things to happen when you're launching a new product. You talk to a supplier, they send you some PDF, and then you discuss, and then everybody slowly send you. It's a lot of waiting time. So meanwhile, we were still running the Desk brand before we launched the new one.
And at that point in time, the Desk brand was already profitable. You're already making money.
Yeah, as in all the businesses need to be profitable. If not, it's very stressful. So to us, first order profitable. Every chair, unit economics level needs to be profitable. You need to understand your different financial matrix, your cost of goods sold, your shipping logistics, your marketing, and then your fixed costs. Then you try and adjust it from there.
Understand.
Yeah.
And like how long did it take from the Desk to the chair lab? When did you all decide to open up the second channel?
Probably 6 months in. 6 months in.
That's quite fast.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, the Desk brand was doing like roughly how much per month?
Maybe back then I remembered about one table a day. So maybe 700 times 30, looking at
20K?
Yeah.
Oh, understand.
Yeah.
So you all took the profits to kind of reinvest back a lot.
Yeah.
At
So
that point,
when searching for products, it's very cheap, right? You just buy singular products and then you test it. After that, when you need to churn when you need to pay for the actual minimum order, that's where you dip into your retained earnings a little bit to kind of buy.
Right.
But by then we kind of knew that this is a problem that we could firstly target all our old customers. Next, we had a strong theory that this would resonate with people.
I understand. And so of course having an existing pool of customers saved you guys a lot of time apart from the waiting time that you mentioned. But in terms of the capital, you said the samples, everything with the ad spend, was that like only like a few thousand or a few hundred? Like how much did it cost?
Maybe about 40, 50K.
50,000, still a lot.
Yeah. But it's I think we cannot see it as just like cash out, right? Because you're essentially converting your cash into assets and then assets back into cash.
It's an investment.
Right? Yeah. So if you know that at cost price you can probably clear them, then any markup is your margins, right? Then you start to like have some level of risk that you are willing to take. But a lot of it is depending on the founder's risk appetite, right? Because you can continue to just do your best, or you can think of a new category and then expand into the category to see if there's synergy in everything.
Exactly, that was what I was thinking. Because you already have a profitable product, the check, the test, then why not scale it out? Like, why take the risk to dump 50,000 when you can reinvest it into more ads?
So this comes to the concept of AOV and LTV. Right.
So
So I think it's something very interesting. And a brand that does it very well is a locally known brand is Prism. So if you notice, most of our products are high average order value products, which means in your first order it is generally quite expensive, right? So that's a high AOV. If you're stuck with a high AOV product, the problem comes when your customer acquisition cost is one of your biggest line item on your P&L. And after you spend that money, you are dead. So take Ergotune for example. People love the brand, right? Or I would think people love the brand.
I love the brand. I just love the brand.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but then, even though people love the brand, I don't have anything else that I can offer them that can serve them. Although I spent maybe $100 to acquire this customer through Facebook ads, right? So that becomes the problem of brands or products that doesn't have LTV. But if you launch high AOV products, one way you can think about expanding is expanding new high AOV categories, right? So Prism did it very well. They did it with monitors, then TVs, then aircons, then fans, then I'm pretty sure
there is like a pattern to it, right? It's all similar to each other.
Yeah, and all is high AOV. But more importantly, when I launch a new category, I then can not spend money on acquisition costs.
Selling back to old customers.
Yes, because your customers already love it, right? Your customers already love your previous product.
Right.
They trust you as a brand. They will be open to explore that portion, right? And then there are cheaper ways to market, like your email marketing, which is one of the cheapest and honestly quite good as a conversion channel. Yeah.
Alright, email marketing understand.
Yeah.
So, walk us through after you guys launched that phase, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to retention and attracting more customers,
Right.
what worked well for you guys?
Right. So after we launched Ergotune, we weren't the best at it. we in fact we sucked, right? We were terrible at running a company. We were doing everything. We were trying to do affiliates, we were trying to do corporates, we were reaching out to physiotherapists saying
It was just 3 of you, right? There was no employees at this point.
There are. So my initial core team was about 7 of us. We were doing every other thing and not focusing on one, right? So that became a problem. So at the start, we were running with affiliates, we were running with HR wellness program. We talked to physios and chiros, say like, can we put our product there? If you sell, we give you comms. We went to health promotion board events. We were doing a lot of things. The problem with doing all these things is it takes away the focus on what really matters. So we were trying to grow, and we were doing a lot of things, but the company just wasn't scaling, right? And that became a problem. And the day that we realized like, okay, we need to rethink the whole business was the day that we like, let's just stop everything else, we focus on Facebook ads. Because in our heads, the US strong DTC companies have built billion-dollar companies on Facebook ads, right? A lot of people back then were saying like, nobody's using Facebook anymore, it's probably not gonna work.
Facebook ads are dead.
Yeah, Facebook ads are dead, kind of thing, right? But we are listening to people building multi-million-dollar businesses on Facebook, right? So in our heads, it's okay, let's just stop everything else. We take a bet that Facebook is going to work, right? And then we drill down into the knowledge of how to run Facebook. And that was when like things started changing. We started to change the whole team structure with specialties, knowing what are the key functions that it requires to run a good Facebook ad account. And then we started to understand performance marketing a little bit better, and then we started to scale. So we were already like scaling pretty hard once we knew how to properly run Facebook ads. which a lot of you who have seen Ergotune ads or Prism, Omnidesk, Aftershock, you kind of know the gist of how we run, except when you drill down to the fundamentals, how does that look like, was what we were trying to figure out. Yeah.
Understand. And when it comes to Facebook ads, how much did you scale up? How much ad spend do you get to per day? And do you hire a professional media buyer, like an agency, or do you train one for in-house?
Right.
Yeah.
We tried to hire. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of people in Singapore that knows how to run ads for DTC companies. Because the way that a lot of media or agency people are being trained is on big accounts, right?
Yeah.
Your big brands like Apple, Coca-Cola, etc. So the way that they run ads is not as conversion based as what an e-com company needs or a startup requires, right? I can't be doing traffic accounts, right? I traffic what? Like I need people to buy, like they see
I need cash flow.
Yeah. I need people to convert, right? So we tried to find a few agencies, but it didn't really work. And that was actually one of our learning lessons, which is if a particular function is core and critical to your business, don't outsource it. At some point, it might be useful to outsource because your core needed to shift. But if that is your core and that is the only thing that is going to make or break your business, don't depend it on somebody that you're paying a retainer to. Right? You better jolly well figure out how to do it, and then you use agencies as manpower to execute on what you think is going to work. And if you have never touched Facebook ads before and you run a DTC company,
you're screwed, right?
Yeah. You don't understand.
You don't understand what's
going on. You don't understand what's going on. You don't understand the CAC. You don't understand your financials enough, right? So this answers your second part of the question.
Yeah.
The first part of the question is how much do we spend on Facebook ads? And this is ultimately a function of your financials and how you look at your unit economics. So if I run a $1,000 product, right? My cost is 50%, is $500. After shipping, let's say, is $400, right? Which means I can spend $400 to break even, assuming I don't count my fixed cost, right? I can spend $400 to acquire one customer at this rate. And that is how I think about my budget. That is how I think about my following month. How much should I plan for based on my sales forecast, right? So I can go ham and decide that this month I'm doing 1M, next month I'll do 10. Right? If you want to do 10M, sure. Are you ready to run your Facebook ads at X amount of acquisition cost in order for you to hit to that 10M? Probably not. Right? If you want to do 10M, you aim for 20% CAC, then you spend 2 million on ads.
Yeah.
Like, do you even know how to spend 2 million on ads?
A month, right?
Yeah, will become a problem. Right? So how we did it was a little bit of risk profile and how much are you willing to spend on that level. The good thing about a startup is that I don't need to adjust my budget month on month. I can adjust it day on day or week on week. Right? If I understand my purchase cycle, if I understand how long from my first ad shown until average how long people start to buy, then I can plan out my budget based on that to see what the conversion rate looks like and then start shifting accordingly. Right? So all these things were things that we had to learn very fast in order for us to start to scale our company.
And you guys didn't come from an agency or D2C background running ads, right?
No.
Yeah, so exactly as you were mentioning, you need to learn yourself before you outsource to the agency. So imagine a lot of people that, let's say they have a dream like you, they want to start their own D2C brand, then their biggest fear will be like, but I don't know how to run ads. Do I need to go work for an agency first? Do I need to learn ads? Like, how would you answer that question?
I think as all education is majority in Singapore, you can probably learn it online, right? The difference is find course instructors that has actually scaled the e-com business before, right? If you find people that have scaled service business or manpower business, it's very different from if you scale the e-com business before. And Twitter, although not very well used in Singapore, unless you're doing crypto, right? Unless you're doing crypto, you're probably not on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's a very good platform for e-commerce people. There are a lot of e-commerce people in the US that shares a lot of the tips and tricks on how to run your Facebook ads. From there, we found certain people that launch courses, certain people that has built billion-dollar businesses, and then they launch a course on how to run Facebook ads. And then we took that as a foundation. For
You bought some of the courses on Twitter.
Yeah.
And how much are these kind of courses?
1-2K.
Okay, well,
Yeah. As in, it is okay, but honestly, not many people are willing to spend it. Right?
It's crazy.
Like,
Not willing to spend 1K to make 10 million.
Yeah.
But,
you don't know enough, right? But once you understand the fundamentals, then a large part of the learning comes from practice. It's a little bit like trading, right? You are looking at the numbers on your Facebook ad, and then what's the acquisition cost, and trying to adjust everything on the fly, and then like see how it goes. Needing not to be emotional if the ad, although you spend money on it, kill the ad if it's not doing well, figure out why is it not doing well, redown the creative, and then like just test again. Yeah.
So this is gonna be a bit more technical for some people, but I think there's gonna be people that are very interested, especially people that are running ads now that we're talking about this. So ads, there are a few parts, right? There is the creative, there is the copy, then there is the targeting. So these three things, right? Which one do you guys find like is the most important skill to have?
I think as of right now, part of performance marketing as a small company, it is not that challenging to do. My sense. The real difference is creatives. And to understand how to do creatives well, is not something that you or me can decide. You are supposed to let Facebook decide. Okay? So stop thinking that you know. Stop spending insane amount of money on Facebook, on getting people to do creative. Your job is to churn your creative engine and learn from all those things. Let Facebook tell you which one works, and then you start to double down on those creatives.
Like keep testing new ones.
Yeah. And by testing, it could be as simple as the copy on the creative. It could be as simple as the color. It could be as simple as a male change to a female, a different expression. Like there are a lot of different types of things that you can test and look at what other people are running for like 180 days. It's probably doing something for them, right? Look at what is working well there, and then like just copy.
Reverse engineer the marketing of the competitors.
Yeah.
Understand.
Artists still and then like see how it applies. Yeah. So let Facebook decide, right? Creatives are huge in trying to let you win on Facebook. Yeah.
So these days the buzz is about AI, and recently I've been seeing a lot of this ad for this company called Ad Creative AI. I'm not sure if you have heard of it.
No.
Like, what is your take on this kind? So this company says within seconds you just talk to their AI, they will churn out a high converting creative for you, regardless of whatever industry you're in. Yeah.
My sense is to the same. Like all creatives is untested whether it's high converting or not until Facebook tells you it is. Right? So I believe it is useful to use AI to churn multiple variations of the same type of ad to run it in the same campaign to see which one performs. That is useful because that takes a lot of time, right? But as with all AI, garbage in, garbage out, right? If you know what the messaging that you're trying to do, or you know what you want to say, then it is probably useful for you to use AI to churn that. If any AI can churn high converting, then businesses everybody will use the same thing, right? I don't think it works that way. Yeah.
You still need like someone that understands the psychology of the customer to input.
Yeah, for sure. Like you need to tell them what type of ads you want to launch, right? So if you talk about Ergotune, do you want to talk about posture, heat? You want to talk about comfort, health, adjustability? Like which are the things that you want to talk about, right? So you still need a certain input, and what's the angle that you want to go for? Right? If it's heat, do you want to go for Singapore? It's sunny, but if you are in a colder country, what's the angle that you want to do for your mesh? Right? So there are a lot of things that requires nuances that good marketer needs to understand. Yeah.
Understand.
Yeah.
And were you all targeting mainly in Singapore? Like, what was the countries that you guys were targeting for,
Right.
for Ergo?
Primarily Singapore, that's a large part of our market. And then we expanded to Australia and for a brief moment in the US and then we left the company. Yeah. So Australia is the other big market that we have.
Understand. What made you all want to expand to Australia instead of like other neighboring countries like Indonesia or Vietnam or
Right.
bigger Asian countries?
I think our theory, everything is theory, right? No, our theory is that a lot of the neighboring countries require, so the nature of a product requires certain level of education, and on why like posture and like standing there is useful for you to invest your money in. A large part of the neighboring countries requires a much more time to get that education, and if you are the first one in, you are paying for that education, right? You need to educate people, and that will cost a lot of money. For countries like Australia, it is useful because when you enter a continent like Australia, you essentially target a very large demographic, plus their education level is already there, spending power is already there, and it's English speaking.
Australia already were familiar with an ergonomic chair.
Yeah. So you find execution, right? You don't need to re-educate people on why it is important. Pros and cons, honestly.
It was a risk, calculated risk.
Yeah, so it's a risk, right? So we looked at the competitors there, it didn't seem like they understand e-com or DBC, or at least the top ranking ones weren't like shouting out to us as though like they knew how to play the game. So we entered there thinking that we could do better lah.
In what aspects do you feel they made you guys give you guys the confidence to say, oh, these people they don't understand how to play this game?
Right. When you look at the website, some experience is really terrible, right? Like if you know some e-commerce websites that you go, you don't know where to click, you don't know what is the main point of this chair's existence. Like I don't know, apart from the price that you are shouting, I don't know what problems you are solving for.
It's confusing.
Yes, right? And you have 60 chairs for me to choose. How am I supposed to choose? Right? So
60 chairs.
Yeah. So like which is a lot of main distributors, right? They sell a wide range and then they'll tell you that I have everything. Come and choose.
They're thinking that makes it better for the customer, right? It's more confusing.
But for me is I got one and it's the best. Like, just go for this one. Like the rest you don't need to look at. And I'll tell you why this is the best. Right? So that was our angle lah. So that was how we decided to enter Australia. Naive. I think at some point, a lot of times when we invest in different countries or even wanting to start a business, you need some level of innocence and naivety to think that you can do better. And we thought we could do better, so
and pay off better.
Yeah. But it was painful because the acquisition cost for Australia is a lot higher than Singapore.
Oh, why is that?
Singapore is quite a good place to start. Yeah. Like people are well to do generally. The CAC is not as expensive, they are educated, supply chain is generally easy. In Australia, cost of living is high.
No, I thought Singapore cost of living is higher than Australia. No.
No, bro, that is jialat, bro.
Okay.
So like, to get a driver, for example, you are looking at maybe 6K a month, which in Singapore maybe you're half the price.
Driver?
Yeah,
like Grab?
to deliver your goods.
Oh,
yeah,
6K?
Yeah.
Wow, driver was so much.
Yeah.
SGD or Australian dollars?
It's about the same.
Oh.
So it's very challenging. And it's just learning the understanding of that game. And that was our first cross-border expansion, right? So there were a lot of things that we had to figure out. Like, your Australians will land on the Singapore website, see the price here, and then like, why are you charging me more? That type of thing. So we had to do a lot of, we had to learn a lot of things on the fly to like make Australia work. Yeah. And one thing we didn't realize was how Australia geographically was shaped. Do you notice? A lot of the hustle and bustle happens in the east. The Western Australia is very underserved.
Like Perth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
fire.
to ship my chair from east to west, it's about the price of my chair. So I thought that everything was opened up once I entered, but once I entered, then I realized like, oh, it's not the case. Like people won't pay twice the price to deliver my chair over to the west lah. Yeah. So you need to learn things along the way.
Yeah, a lot of new things to learn lah. So in terms of, so that was more of attracting customers. So in terms of retention, like how did you guys get people to keep coming back, especially when this is not a cheap niche, right? It's a high ticket expansion. Yeah.
We don't. We don't. And it's the nature of the problem of the product, right? Because it's high AOV. So when after you purchase, I don't have anything else that I can offer you, right? And that became a problem. So in order for us to expand, it was either to expand by categories or we expand geographically. And we chose to expand geographically. On hindsight, we should have considered launching more categories to build it into an ecosystem rather than expanding geographically as well. So that's
what categories would you have expanded? Let's say you could go back in time.
Right. Your whole home and living, you can look at spaces that is very underserved or very difficult to buy. So for example, sofas, console, refrigerators, washing machine, dryer.
Anything you need in a house.
Yeah, you can play in the home and living category. So you move up from the productivity health category and you go deeper. You can go into ergonomic seat for your car or add-on for your current chair, or you can go bigger category into your home and living where around your house, what are some of the other things that might go in line with your entire brand.
Understand.
Yeah.
So to summarize for retention, you guys didn't focus so much like referral program, all this, like it's not that important compared to like a gym business that with subscription. You all are much more focused on the acquisition, like you said, the channels, geography. That is more of the focus.
Yeah.
Understand.
Yeah. So the way we look at our financials is on a unit level. This is the amount of money that I can spend before I am not profitable on this channel, right? And then we adjust everything accordingly. But if you are running a high LTV company, you can potentially lose money on your first purchase, right? You can, if you sell razors, right, very famous examples, you can lose money on selling a razor, but all your blades is where your profit margins is 90%. We do very minimal increasing of AOV, but it's primarily on the desk accessories. So when you buy a desk, your monitor arm, if you buy a desk and buy a chair, we'll try and upsell with the chair, your shelves on your desk and all those things where those are just increasing the AOV, but you don't get the recurring LTV type of business.
Understand. So throughout the years of running this business, right, can you tell us like maybe what was the toughest challenge you guys ever faced as a team and how did you overcome it?
I guess at different stages you have different problems. I'll start with the seeding stage, right? The seeding stage is trying to be profitable, right? You're trying to remove away a lot of the teething issues you have when you first start a business. You need to start to understand on marketing, on logistics, what all the freaking warehouse is trying to charge you before like you can even send out an order.
Whether they highball you.
Yeah, you're trying to understand what a consumer faces when they receive your product. So a lot of teething issues and trying to scale. So I think that probably is your 0 to 1 million. In your 1 to 10, you start to scale your manpower, right? You start to hire in people. And from there, you start to face problems like performance management. How do you keep employees motivated? How do you keep them in line with the direction you want to run to, yet give them space for them to make decisions on their own? We are first-time managers / leaders, or people call them CEO, but we don't recognize ourselves as that, right? Because everybody was trying to figure stuff out, right? If my high-performing team member comes to me and say that I want to raise, How do you make that decision? You want to keep them? Yes. Do you have the cash flow to sustain a business? Not sure, right? How will next month's sales be? Don't know, right? So these were decisions that we had to make and had to learn very fast in order to keep the team motivated. Like, what keeps them? Is it the financials? Is it equity? Is it the feeling that they have as a family inside the company? Like, what are all these things that keeps people together in the company? And we had to learn those. I would say people is tough. Everybody got different motivations. Right?
More tough than actually growing the business from 0 to 1 million.
Different type of tough lah. Yeah, different type of tough lah. But
emotional.
when you're small, you sacrifice yourself, right? You just work a lot more, right? You try and play small bets here and there, and then one pay off you double down, one pay off you double down, right? And then you try and see how a lot of learning on it. Your 1 to 10, you scale people, there are factors you cannot control, right? So if my high performer has an issue at home and they are not performing at work, what do? Right? It's tough decisions that you need to make a call on what is fair to this person, as well as the company, as well as every other team member that is depending on this company for them to bring home a salary to feed their family. Right?
A lot of weight on your shoulders.
Yeah. So you need to make all these decisions because when I think it was one of these big motivational guys, I think Simon Sinek or something like that says that this culture, it's the founder of HubSpot. He says that there are a lot of different debts, right? But culture debt is something that you can't, it's not as easy to remove. So your tech debt, which is if you code, right? Sometimes you take some corners, you hard code a little bit here and there. At some point you can clear it, right? Financial debt, you make enough money, you can clear it. Culture debt, if you hire in somebody that does not sit well with the culture of the company or doesn't move in the direction that you want the whole team to go towards, and you keep them long enough, it starts to impact everybody else. And that debt is very difficult.
Can you say it's a parasite? That's so nice way to say it.
Right? Like you start to impact everybody, right? You start to bring negativity to people that maybe they were motivated, they were trying to go for the company, they were trying to prove themselves, right? Now suddenly it's like, why I work so hard? Right? So those become tougher decisions that you need to make. Yeah. So it's difficult. But luckily I have my co-founders. We talk a lot about these things and what is the right thing to do. And a lot of times I would say we are softer than there are a lot of other founders out there. I think my whole life I probably fired one person only. And like,
was that cause of performance or it was a culture issue? Yeah,
like learning, and then I knew that this probably wouldn't fit into the culture. It's probably better for them and me to let them go. But firing is tough. It's not easy to look somebody in the eye and say like, hey, you don't suit the company, right? It's not something that I like to go through. But yeah, it's on the flip side, you're being responsible for everybody else who is putting in their 110% for the company in order for them to have certain level of financial payout or to see the company do better.
Interesting from the perspective, right, of the guy that's firing. Usually people only hear from the other side. Both sides equally people. Nobody wants to do it. No choice.
Sure.
And when it comes to like all these people decision hiring, firing, you all had to bring in like a experienced CEO to coach you all. They have a mentor.
Right. We should have mentors. I think mentors are probably something that we should have gotten a lot earlier. But we actually had a HR consultant that came in to kind of guide us on our thinking, which was when we shared our perspective on some of the challenges that we face, we are not special, right? A lot of SMEs face that same problem, like your performance, your don't know to up pay or what rank to give and all those things. So she kind of cleared up a lot of these doubts that we have and guided us on how to form a system that the three of us believed in. It was different from what you see outside, but it's what we think is suitable for us. So one example is, for most people out there, progression is getting to be a manager, right? Everybody needs to be a manager in order for you to progress, right? You need to start managing people.
Yes.
Unfortunately, managing people and being a good individual contributor is two entirely different skill sets. And you are expecting an individual contributor to learn how to manage people and do well at that job when it may or may not be what the person wants to do. Right? So the way that we have structured the progression in our company is you have IC1, IC2, IC3, which is your individual contributors. And at this point in time, there will be a path for you to choose. Do you want to be a manager or do you want to be an individual contributor for? Right? And the main thing why people want progression is because of financial compensation.
Yes.
Right? So your manager 1 and your IC4, same pay. Now this allows them to choose, right? Do I really like managing people? Do I like the collective effort of everybody managing all their system processes, checking on their work, making sure everything goes smoothly, and then that is my KPI? Or do I want to be judged on the work that I do, right, as an individual person, and let another person manage me, and that is fine, right? So this was something that we believed in, and that was how we structured the company.
Right, and the question is like, how do you justify a manager having the same pay as an IC4? Because the IC4 is still just doing the same kind of task, right? But as a manager, it manages a different value they're bringing to the table.
Right.
How do you guys justify the same?
So an individual contributor can be doing maybe software engineers, right? You can have fresh grad software engineer versus 10-year experience Shopify liquid developer, right? How long do you think it takes this person to build my landing page I want to test versus this person?
It's probably like 5 times faster.
Right? Would you pay this person more?
Yes.
So it's the same, right? So you probably will pay this person more, but managing that person is depending on the manager's skill set. Right? How do you know what is enough, too much, too little for this particular person? How do you keep them motivated? Yeah.
That's really awesome. So I thought we went really deep on this. So I think a lot of people find it important, especially people running a business. But now fast forward, like many years later, we reached the stage where I think you all got into the news, right? Featured all over Singapore because you all got acquired by a very big VC group. So maybe walk us through that process. How did that even come about? And did you all even had plans to get acquired already? Was that something you all always wanted to do, or was it just completely unexpected?
When we started this company, it was meant to be a cash cow, which means at some point it can pay us 10, 20k a month, people will run it, I will go and do other things, right?
Do other things?
Yeah.
Like you want to do something else already?
Yes, I don't know, when we first started, right? And at some point when we started to invest so much time and energy into it, it built to a level where people recognize it as a brand. And that was when we wanted to grow it as a brand. And when we started to want to grow it as a brand, COVID hit, right? When COVID hit, we were already on an uptrend of figuring out Facebook. When COVID hit, it was hyperscale. And the acquirers called us probably in the second year of COVID. So it was my senior. And then we didn't have intentions of selling.
Your senior as in your senior in school?
Yeah, my senior in school. So he joined the company.
What?
Yeah. So
easy.
Yes.
Coincidental.
Yeah. So we never had intention of selling because I personally think if you are running a business and you built it for the intention of selling, you will probably cap your growth. That's my thing. A lot of times when we were running a business, it was today I'm planning for tomorrow, I'm planning for next week, and it's always going to be a grind. Right? It never stops. Right? There's always new problems, there's always not enough, new product, new geographical, new problems in your HR, there's a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
You need to be aware and in line that you are always solving this problem. But the moment you think about selling, a lot of these problems suddenly seem small. Right? Maybe I don't need to deal with this HR problem now. Right? Maybe I don't need to go so fast to invest my capital into another country which might impact my valuation, right?
Yeah.
So all these questions start to come into play if you are building a business for acquisition. So you can at the back of your mind think that one day this will be acquired, right? But when you're in it, I believe that you need to always be thinking that this business is going to last for a very long time. Now is where you build, solve your fundamentals, build your good team, think of a good product, what's the problem you're solving, all these things you need to always be looking at. So when my senior called me, he joined Una Brands, which is the brand that bought us, as investment analyst-ish role. So,
venture capitalist, right? Something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So they are what we call eCommerce aggregator. So they aspire to be the LVMH of the world in the e-com world, right? So I acquire a lot of e-com brand. I look at the back end, optimize the back end, and then all these brands can build on the same infrastructure, have economies of scale.
It's like the Alex Hormozy acquisition.com.
Yes,
right,
similar. So that's what they are trying to aim for. So when they are in Singapore, there were a few e-commerce brands that they were looking at, and one of them was us.
Yeah. So since you said it's always about the client, never about the sales. So the biggest question I'm sure everyone is wondering, what made you sell?
Right. Yeah. So I think we had a long discussion on whether or not to sell. The first reason was because all three of us came from average to below average background, right? And that is not a pity story. It is it impacts the business decision that we needed to make. So, for example, one of the things that people love about Ergotune is the headrest, right? The headrest is incredibly comfortable. I would say so. But when we knew that the previous headrest was a problem and we wanted to invest in the headrest. When the bill came, it was $150,000 to invest in it. 3 founders could have taken home $50K to do whatever you want, right?
Yes.
But we decided to invest in the headrest. It wasn't a simple
invest
decision.
money, your own money, right?
Yeah, because you bootstrap the company, only 3 of us. It's our money.
Thanks to you guys, you have the headrest.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, in order for you to make that decision, and if you muddle your personal finances with the company's finances, right? You are looking at both of them as the same. It becomes very challenging for you to make a very clear business decision, knowing that it's the right decision, right? It's very difficult. So that was kind of one of the reasons that we sell, right? We needed to know that personally, financially, you are taken care of, right? You can take care of your family. You don't need to worry about general things in life. Then you build one for a home run, right? And it may or may not be this one. So before we sold, the 3 of us really sat together and we were like, okay, if in 5 years' time, Ergotune becomes a $1 billion company, you need to look back on today and think about the reasons why you are selling and be okay with it. Be okay that in 5 years down the road, it might be a $1 billion company, but right now your reasons are strong that we needed to sell. So first was us. Second, our company hyper-scaled during COVID, right? We were already on an uptrend, but COVID boosted a large part of it, right? Work from home, and because a lot of money was pouring into the e-com aggregator space, we were acquired at a good valuation. So we were riding on the tailwind of all these demands that wasn't generated by us, right? So were we really that good? Was a question, right? We started to doubt, like, were we really that good, or was COVID really that strong, right? If we have built the company without COVID to this level of valuation, we might not sell it, right? We might not know how to properly do it. And the third thing was because Una, as a group, had a lot of strong entrepreneurs, were previously entrepreneurs, and then they joined the company as employees. We also started to think, do we actually know how to run a 30-people company? It came to a point where when sometimes when people walk in, I don't know their names.
Like your own team, you don't know their name.
Like they became a problem, right?
Oh,
like I don't know what everybody was doing, and everything seemed slow. Like when last time when there were 7 of us, I wanted to do something. Next day, it will be on, right?
Yeah.
When there's 30 people, you start to have like meetings and meetings, alignment meetings. It's like things aren't just moving the way that
It's more of a management game now. It's no longer about product.
But it shouldn't be that hard at 30 people, right? At people that are running 100 people company, yeah, you probably should face that problem. At 30, you probably poor management from us lah. But we weren't sure, so we kind of wanted to see how a stronger individual is able to look at this whole company and be able to scale it a lot faster than we did. So those are some of the reasons why we decided to sell.
Understand. So the next question will be, do you guys still hold certain percentage of the company so that you all can keep growing, or are you all more of like you said, like entrepreneur, third employee? Because like some companies, like for example, I know of the case study of like Morning Brew. They said, no, we're not going to sell everything. We still want to keep a portion so that we can still grow and be rewarded.
Right. We wanted to keep a portion, but the owner brands wanted to have the whole thing because it's a lot, but it's a lot cleaner, right? Because if you acquire 100% versus if you have a minority shareholdings, a lot of decisions becomes very difficult to rush. So I can understand the reasons from their end, which is why they wanted to buy over 200%.
And you're okay with that? You're sure?
Yeah. It is.
Was it like a full cash or like stock?
It was a full cash acquisition. Yeah.
So the next question will be like, how are you guys doing today? Like when you got that cash, like what was like the first thing you said? Well, at that point were you all like, okay, I'm like done, retired, completely like what they say, I want to enjoy my life, retire early, travel the world, like Singaporean dream, right? What was that like? How was that like? What do you guys do? And how does the future look like 5 to 10 years down the road?
Right. So when I first got the money in the bank, right, I told myself, don't spend first. Let the adrenaline die down first, right? Let it die down. But in between, me and my co-founder went to buy a Brompton. So
buy what?
Brompton, like a bicycle.
Oh.
Yeah. We bought a. It's a rather expensive bicycle. It's a foldable bicycle. That was our splurge.
How much is the Brompton?
It's $3,000.
Yeah.
But I have never spent like this type of money before, right? So that was like our guilty purchase.
You all love cycling lah.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least we hope to lah.
Not buy motorcycle.
So after that I got married, bought a house, this house. Then of course taking care of parents and all, so all those things are settled. So generally that was how like we spent our money. But I think the traveling the world and all those things is a very interesting thing that you mentioned, because for the past 5-6 years, the only thing that I know is to wake up and work, right? For 12-15 hours a day, putting out fires, putting on the management hat, then execution, then management, and then just keep thinking on how to grow the business, trying to find edge in this crazy marketplace. That was my reality for close to 5-6 years, right? And suddenly when you jam brake on that, I thought that I wanted to travel the world. I thought that I wanted to experience life,
fire
side. Right? I thought that was what I wanted. And when I traveled for a while, I went on a honeymoon for 3 weeks to East Africa. And after I came back, I was just tired.
Tired?
Yeah,
not rejuvenated.
Like travel for it's a thing. Like very real. So I think the way to travel is either you slow travel, you experience the culture, and you slowly move on. Maybe every 2 months you go certain places, or you go for 2 weeks, and then you come. Right? So, but after traveling, I actually suddenly felt like there wasn't a real purpose of my existence anymore. Right?
Wow.
Because back then, so back then, it was very easy, right? If you chase for the money, it's a lot easier. you have a goal, like you want X amount of money in your bank, and then you just laser focus strong towards it. But if that's all you have, and all that you are aiming for, then what comes next? Right? Because money is infinite, right? You can start with 1 mil, then 10 mil. When you hit your 10 mil, you want to hit your 100. When you hit your 100, you want to hit your billion, right? Never ending. So if that is your goal, then you'll constantly be chasing that money. And all this is cliche, right? Because people have said it time and a dozen times.
Yeah.
But I used to be that, right? I used to be the one that is like chasing after that. And I'm not saying that money harms you or whatever, right? Takes away your happiness or whatever. I think it gives you the peace of mind to know that you are okay if you don't lifestyle inflate. You are okay, right? You lifestyle inflate, you are dead, right? You are constantly chasing, right? But if you don't lifestyle inflate, you will generally have the peace of mind that you don't need to work. You can go for any food you want, you can travel reasonably, and you'll be okay. But I think what most people is trying to find is your purpose and the reason why you want to continue to do stuff, right? If you want financial freedom, what is the purpose of it? Is it so that you can buy back your time to do what? Is it to buy health, to have somebody to cook for you healthy meals every day so you can buy back time and yet still be healthy, right? And what does that number look like? And a lot of people don't ask themselves that, right?
Definitely.
If
It's
you,
hard, it's a hard question.
yeah. So if you plan out the best life that you can have, and you can think of a number, right? A base amount that you need to down pay certain stuff, recurring that you need to factor in, you probably can come up with a number that you want to work towards, right? And once you get there, can you stop? Stopping is tough, right? Because you start to see other people, right? You start to compare and see that, hey, somebody else is earning 9 digits, somebody else is going for a billion, right? Do I want to continue to do that? But if you enjoy the game, for sure, right? And that is what I have learned of myself. And I probably don't know this when I first started, but I've learned that I like to run a company. I like to run a consumer company. Like, I love running with a team, solving problems, trying to see if what my ideas come out to be actually helps people. And when you start to hear like Ergotune, people actually coming to thank you for developing that product, for putting in the effort to think of the small things, right? The unboxing experience, the purchasing experience, the chair itself, how they've been using it for many years. These are the things that keeps you motivated, and those are what drives you. So right now, I am searching for the next business that can potentially do that. But then that is tough because I have learned a lot of things from Ergotune and Nevertheless, and there are some things I would never want to do again. Right? So that kind of limits the criteria of the things that I want to do. And that's why I said to jump into your first business, you need some level of innocence, stupidity, naivety to think that you can do better. So now there are certain criteria that I'm looking for that I will want to sink my time in for the next 5 to 10 years. And the payout or not is a scorecard to me. It's a scorecard on how well the market thinks our company is doing, how well my team is executing, right? And that is how I look at the next business. But fundamentally, it needs to solve a problem, it needs to have AOV, it needs to have LTV, and a good team to center around it. Yeah.
So the criteria that you said, the next column is the AOV, LTV, and all of that.
Yeah. And clear problem that is solving for. If you see founders struggling with trying to articulate the problems that the product or service that they are offering, they probably have not figured it out yet. Okay? Whether is it a big enough problem or not is a secondary question, but you need to be clearly articulating what is the problem that you are solving for, how you are doing it different, not better, but different from everybody else out there. And that, I think, is what makes you win.
And what approach would you say is the best when it comes to trying to figure out the problem? Because I think this is a very big question for all people that want to start. They don't know how to approach it. Like, do I do a survey? Do I do an interview?
Right.
What do I do?
Run Facebook ads.
Always like, wow, I think you are like a huge buzz like fan. I think Mark Zuckerberg loves you. Because you go to Facebook ads.
Because they are the ones that will tell you whether people buy.
They have the biggest data somewhere. You're leveraging the data that they have.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a black box, nobody understands it. We don't understand it. But you put in and then you see whether it speaks money or not. If it doesn't, you're probably not doing it right. Right? And there are a lot of skill sets you need to learn. I would think you need to learn before actually starting. If you want to run an e-com brand, you need to understand Facebook ads or up and coming is TikTok, right?
Yeah.
I think short form TikTok videos have not reached a stage where you can double down on conversions. The beauty of Facebook ad is that it can, right? So if your TikTok video does well, how do you hyperscale that TikTok video? Versus if your ad does well on Facebook, you can put in 10x the budget and see whether it still performs the same, right? I think if people want to enter their first business and they are not ready yet, the first thing they should probably try is doing content. And doing content,
Interesting.
yes, I think doing content lets you learn the mechanics of customer retention. Like how do you attract people's attention? And that is essentially what all ads are trying to do, right? Because at some point, my ads on Facebook that are working are TikTok style ads that are working. So TikTok style videos that are working, I take that, I put it onto Facebook, and then I let it run, and then I convert.
So you're saying like create TikTok videos like style ads, organic just on your account.
Yeah.
And then
test
figure-
yes. Test out what attracts people's attention, right? Because you got your whole hook retain reward formula, right?
Yeah.
Do people understand it, right? If I can build a personal brand on it, or I just take a product that I recently bought, right? This microphone, for example, a camera, for example, and I can hook people to watch and make the video go viral. I can probably take that video and put as an ad, and you will probably convert. Right? So if I am not ready to start business, I'll probably start doing content first.
Interesting. So when you talk about content, right, do you mean that you just pick a random product and start marketing? Like, you don't even need to buy anything. Like, it's just about, like, say, practicing. So you're saying take the content creator, like master that skill first.
Yeah.
You can maybe partner with a business. Like I think nowadays there's a lot of food bloggers probably. I think, I know a lot of people doing that. They go review. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. You can start with personal brand, or personal brand which encompasses reviewing products. But all these things, because TikTok is very forgiving in the type of content that you put out, right? So if you post something and then it doesn't get anything, then just remove it, right? But you need to be willing to put in the work and figure out all this stuff, which is tough. Like doing it now, I know it's tough.
But you enjoy it. I mean, the most important is you love it, right?
Yeah. So like, if you are able to like instinctively come out with like creatives, you can look at a product and know whether this can sell or not. You then will start to build that muscle of knowing if I want to launch a brand, I start to find problems around and I start to see whether or not I'm able to capture that demand or capture the attention of people through certain types of ads. Right? It's a very soft innate skill that after doing content for a very long time, you probably know.
Because starting out from content, right, doesn't cost you much. Like for example, like us doing this blog, it doesn't cost us much. So low capital, but at the same time, you get the experience, you get understanding of the market, like through whatever product or thing that you're trying to review. And then over time, when you have the audience, then now it's you can have it launch pad to create a brand.
Yeah, for sure. And if you can build a community that loves you as a person, then when you launch a brand, that is
throw money at you.
That is your initial target group already, right? And everybody have their own unique unfair advantage, right? You just need to find what is that for you. Like most people label themselves as, oh, I'm just a student, or I just do karate, or like I just or like I just work a normal 9 to 5 job. But apart from all these, you have your own interests, and you put 3 interests together with what you are doing, and you try and find synergy with it. That makes you unique as a human being on your own, right?
Ikigai? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, right. So you can probably find that, right? And start trying by doing content, and I think that skill set is very transferable. Yeah. Worst case, you go to any e-com company, you say I'm not going to do creatives, right? They'll probably hire you, and then you ask them to pay you based on the amount of money the ad generates.
It's a no-brainer, right? I get results, I can pay you.
Yeah. So that's why I think. Yeah.
And the best part, I think, is that you don't necessarily even need a degree or corporate experience. The best thing, like you said just now, online is so accessible at the education. So it is such a huge potential for any person, especially a young person, maybe in young 20s.
For sure. So like right now, I'm searching for my next business. Talking about content, I'm also building my own content.
Yeah, we were talking about that just now.
Yeah. So one of the things that I regret was not doing content while we were building Ergotune, right? And to show kind of like who's that? The Gymshark founder.
Ben Francis, right?
Yeah. So he kind of documented his whole journey as he scaled.
Oh, I did not know that. Oh, he documented it.
And that was quite amazing because you actually see the ups and downs of him trying to do stuff, failing, succeeding.
It's like a movie.
Yeah. And that if we could turn back time, I would definitely have done content for Ergotune. I think it puts into perspective of the actual struggles that we had and the good and bad parts of running a business, right? When people look at an acquisition, they think that, wow, beautiful.
Beautiful.
You know, all the sacrifice, and I always say this, right? If when I was running the business, I had once a week date with my current wife, and sometimes
once a week.
Yes, and sometimes it doesn't even happen because I had to take care of so many other people, right? So all those things are sacrifices that you have to make if you want to like dedicate your time and resource somewhere, right? You only have that amount of time. So it wasn't easy, right? But back then I thought that it was necessary. So all these sacrifices, I wish that I had documented down, and then people can see like, oh, Ergotune, how they grew and all those things. I thought it would be fun. So now I'm trying to dig up things.
Never too late to get started.
Yeah. But I've learned that content is freaking hard. So kudos to all the young people who can just pick up a phone and then start. I'm like, wow, tough. I heard my voice for the first time and then I deleted the video.
You have thick skin sometimes, right? Just put it out there.
Yeah. And the third thing that I'm doing right now is to I have this window right now before I start my next business, and I want to meet as many entrepreneurs as possible. I think in Singapore, back then when we were running it, we didn't meet anybody. It was us and our computer with courses online, and then we try and fit everything.
No mastermind groups, BNI, this kind of stuff. No,
like it is part skeptical, part I didn't have the time to do it, but when after the acquisition, I got to meet a lot of very successful founders in their own realm.
Through the group that you are part of, right?
Yes. Yeah. So the small tips that they shared could have easily 5x the business because they have been through it before, right? I met.
Like just that advice would have you heard 5x.
Yeah. Because you are constantly searching for it, right? You are always aware and you hear, and you see whether does that make sense.
Because they have done it.
Yeah.
There are a few steps, that's why they can tell you.
Like, when they tell you one thing that worked, why they don't tell you 9 things that didn't? Right? So you are like, hey, did that one thing that worked, would it work for me? Right? Or the 9 things that didn't, why did it not work? Am I different? Right? So that whole experience that we have, short experience that we run Ergotune, I wish that I'm able to share this with more people. I think it's very admirable for people to come out and do their own thing, right? It is very hard. It's incredibly challenging. You have so much struggles that you face, and when you are trying, people will be like, why? Why you do this? Right?
Especially, I think in Singapore, very traditional kind of society, right? Everybody, I can't compare to the US. I find US people are very, everyone do business freedom. Singapore is more like just be money.
Yeah.
Like don't take the risk, right?
Right.
Just get a good paying job, get a degree. That's
Yeah.
the narrative.
Yeah. And there's not much support, right? Like
Yeah.
the people that I met, I wouldn't have a connection to them even if I wanted, right? So with this, like, I hope that more people who are looking at building product companies, I don't know how to scale tech, I don't know how to sell service, I wouldn't say that I know how to run businesses, I know how to run a product company, and I'm looking to meet as many people who run product companies as possible to see how I can help them. Some advice are probably more useful than others.
Understand.
Yeah.
And just want to ask one more thing, right, before we break for the final segment is when you got that big paycheck, I'm sure some of you wondering, like, some people I have talked to entrepreneurs that's like, it has been a longest time, I put in my bedroom, right, a photo of a Lamborghini Huracan. So was there something you ever wanted to buy a car, a watch, this kind of thing?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't have a car. I enjoy the freedom of sitting behind a Grab and continue to do my own thing. I don't like the whole parking and traffic situation, which is why I generally don't buy a car. I think after the acquisition, I read one thing that helped me was I read psychology online.
Oh, I love that book.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
that book, I know, yeah.
I think because of that book, I had a lot more restraints in the way that I spend money, the way that I think about where I should be investing in. So that book and Die with Zero was kind of two books that I kind of combined the ideologies together on how I see it. I will probably never buy a Lambo. Yeah, like to me a car is a moving storage, right? Get me from point A to point B.
That's super, I feel entrepreneur, you're thinking like, yes, gradually based on the plan.
Yeah. So like,
logical.
Yeah, like when you see inside the car, you can't see the outside. Maybe I'm just like stupid, but I don't know what's the value. Unless you love cars and like it's your thing, right? It's not mine. So I would think I invest in experiences. So when I went East Africa for my honeymoon, I invested a lot in that honeymoon to kind of make that a memorable experience that I can bring away.
Did you go to the safari?
Yeah, I went all safari.
Wow, this is like come on you.
Yes, but they usually don't show you lah.
Pretty scary.
But one of the side note, one of my most, I think one of the countries that's underrated is Uganda. So I went to
Uganda?
Yeah. I went Uganda.
Yeah, very surprising. People
Yes.
are thinking, where you go Uganda?
Yeah.
Or Japan or Korea or Europe.
Yeah. So we managed to hike this mountain to find wild silverback gorillas. So so we were probably like.
That's very rare, right? They're almost
Yeah.
extinct or something. Silverback gorilla.
Yeah, so they're trying to breed there on the mountain. Right? So there are a lot of like conservatories around the mountain. So we were probably like 3 meters away from the gorilla. It was
Not scared, like it come and beat you up or something.
it didn't feel like this They never chomp me so I thought it was fine. But that was memorable, and I would invest in these type of experiences. But me and my wife is more scenic experiences style people. So going snowboarding end of the month kind of thing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It can be content really.
Yeah. So I think in terms of money, buy the house and then just buy experiences. And buy back some time to do other stuff that you want.
I love that, man.
Yeah. Oh, but now we can actually invest in our first product. So if we actually have a product that we want that is not out there in the market, we can actually sink money in to invest in it to actually build something.
Like an investor, right? Now you have money also.
Yeah.
Do
Investor or build ourselves, but we can actually do the product innovation at the start, right? And we don't need to go the OEM route again. But just playing the game with the chips that you have, right? When you have no money, there are ways to do it. When you have some capital, there are ways to do it as well. And you just need to see what you are dealt with.
Awesome.
Yeah.